Well, let me say something that might annoy a few people. Most people don't need more clarity. They need few excuses disguised as understanding. And let that breathe. I see this pattern all the time by the way people get readings, they get explanations, they nod, they resonate, they feel seen. And then life stays the same. Not worse, just unchanged. So have you ever received a reading that felt accurate but did not move your life? Have you ever walked away feeling informed but not transformed? And have you wondered why knowing more didn't make choosing earlier? Now stay with me here, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why clarity often becomes a comfort zone. You'll see the real difference between reading, coaching, and consulting. And you'll recognize where you might be unconsciously stalling your own progress. So first of all, let's address the issue. Well, readings feel good, isn't it? Right? They explain, they validate, they give language to things you felt for years. But there's nothing wrong with that, my friends. Only the problem. Feeling understood itself is not the same as being changed. So I know readings reduce anxiety. They make confusion feel organized. And they tell you, well, there's a reason this happened. And that relief itself is real. And this is also where people stopped. Well, this is the patch perhaps people don't like hearing. Clarity doesn't require courage. Action does. You can understand your patterns without ever challenging them. You can explain your behavior without ever changing it. And you can intellectualize your life and still avoid decisive moments. And that's not a failure, it's just protection. So ask yourself this question honestly. How many times have you said to yourself, at least, now I understand myself better, but then continue exactly the same way? Well, the distinction matters, because coaching helps you cope. Consulting forces decisions. Coaching is supportive as it helps you feel stronger inside your current structure. And consulting is disruptive because it questions whether the structure itself makes sense. And both have values, by the way, and they serve very different purposes. Coaching will ask, how do you feel about this? Consulting will ask, what are you going to do about this? What suits the other confront? So the question is, why most people prefer understanding over change? Well, this is an uncomfortable truth. Understanding lets you stay who you are. Change demands you become someone else. And becoming someone else threatens identity, reputation, and comfort. So people unconsciously choose clarity over consequence. Not because they are weak, but because change carries risk. And if you truly act on what you know, who will you disappoint? What would you have to stop tolerating? And what would you have to give up? And those are the real questions hiding behind most readings. So this is where timing quietly enters. In some cycles, you could avoid delay, you could process, reflect, and think things through slowly. Not now. This cycle compresses feedback. What you avoid shows up faster. What you postpone costs more. Clarity without movement becomes stagnation very quickly. So let me ask you something that matters. What did you already know that you haven't acted on? Not because you can't, okay? But because you haven't decided to, and sit with that. And if nothing changes after clarity, clarity becomes entertainment. And it feels productive. It sounds intelligent, but it doesn't alter trajectory. So for now, don't seek another explanation. Instead, notice what insight you already have, one truth you already recognize, and one decision you have already delayed. And that's where consulting begins. And that's why I don't do readings in isolation, and why I don't start with tools. Because the real work starts when understanding turns into responsibility. And if this video hits closer than expected, well, the conversation continues inside the Destiny Architect Telegram chat. And that's where we talk about decision, not descriptions. So you see, clarity shows you the dawn, but the choice is what you walk through.